Nice.
Alright everybody, so in this first room that we're going to be entering, I will be taking y'all's photos because they will be available to purchase at the very end of this tour. Now, just so you guys don't accidentally photobomb each other's pictures today, I'm just going to ask for y'all to stop by. The white sign on the wall that's going to be down there is going to be on your right hand side, and just wait there until I call y'all down. And if you're the last person in, if you could do me a favor, you can close the gate right behind you, please.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to have y'all stop right here. I'm just going to set up the camera real quick, and I'll start to count everybody down.
Alright, that's water dripping. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're right.
Alright, I can have the first family come on down for their photo.
That's fine.
I'm going to have you guys stand right about where the line is. If you want to bring the mask just for the pictures, you can do so. Yes, covers. Camera's going to be right here for everybody. Y'all can smile at it in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Y'all can head on down. There'll be some glass doors at the bottom. Y'all can wait by and don't go past. Thank you. All right. Is it just you two today?
Yep.
I got her.
No. Be careful. Please.
On this side. Oh, yeah, hang on. I know.
That's one thing. Get those.
I got it. I got it.
Just make sure y'all watch your back. Here we go.
It's a little more even, you're gonna go.
Okay.
It looks like a slug.
I will never have to duct tape for you, and I'm not giving anything taller.
Oh, darling. Sweetheart.
You good?
Yep.
Okay.
This is almost like what we did in Israel, caving down into Hezekiah's tunnel. Yeah. And this is what it was kind of like, really narrow.
It's really slippery over there, Grandma. Careful.
This is one of them.
I could if I wanted to. I just said, just visiting here.
That's the stuff we follow after they came down.
Just looking at the problem.
Head over.
Ángel, ven.
What?
Stand right here.
Okay.
Press this one.
Okay, take a picture of you or what? Take a picture of
Go,
me?
go.
Yeah?
There, go.
Yeah?
Yep.
And as
I did, yeah.
into this area, feel free to take a seat on any of the available benches, even the man-made brick walls in here. Just be a little careful. Some spots may be a little wet, but this is going to be our next stop on tour.
Right here, Ángel.
Weird. Porque if grandma was here, you know that?
Yeah, she would hate.
She would get scared and she would fall.
She would hate it.
She'll probably fall on me.
Yeah.
And fall. And I'll be, me and you and her. Dang, everybody will be very mad. And you bring the big one. Shoot a plan. Whoa. Spider storm.
For those of y'all who are just now entering this room, as I mentioned before, y'all are free to take a seat on any of those available benches, even the man-made brick walls in here. This is going to be our next stop on tour, so I'm going to be getting started in just a minute. Is the exit to that 120-foot crawlway those cave discoverers came through to enter this room and to find the rest of these caverns. Now, when those cave discoverers first came down here, it was a whole lot darker inside these caverns for them than it is right now. So when they saw all these different looking rocks and formations in the dark, they thought it resembled a little bit of what they thought the underworld might look like. So that's why they decided to name this room after the Roman god of the underworld, Pluto. And then anteroom is just a big fancy word meaning smaller room before larger rooms. So believe it or not, this is actually going to be one of the smallest rooms that we are in today. Now, in this area, there are also a few different types of formations that we'll continue to see throughout this cavern, so I'm just going to go ahead and talk about a few of them with you guys. Now, our first type of formations will all be classified as drip stones, because all of these are going to be formed by the dripping of water. So our first type of dripstone is called stalagmites, which are those formations there on the ground that start to form up towards the ceiling. And then we have our stalactites, which are those formations up on the ceiling that start to grow towards the ground. Now, a clever way to remember the difference between these two, stalactites hang tight to the ceiling, whereas stalagmites might reach the ceiling one day. And then when these two formations connect to one another, this is when they will form a column, which is just when a formation will touch the ground and the ceiling at the same time. And then we have a second type of formation that we'll see in here, classified as flow stones, because in general, these will all be formed by the flowing of water. So this right here will be our first type of flow stone. That is what we call a cave ribbon, which are the formations that look like they've been slightly pinched off the side of the walls. Now, once these cave ribbons start to hang more off of the wall, this is when they will become a cave curtain. And then once those cave curtains get big enough, they will eventually touch the ground, so they'll look a little bit more like drapery. So this is what we call them, a cave drapery. Y'all can see an example, kind of one of those right back there on that wall. It's going to be coming off the wall and touching the ground. That's a pretty alright example of a cave drapery. Now, as you can tell, a lot of the formations in here do look kind of different from one another, but they are all formed and made out of the same mineral that we call calcite, which is a mineral found within the limestone layers that makes up the ceilings and walls in this cavern. So whenever it rains, that rainwater enters into the limestone, it dissolves that calcite, and then that enters into the cavern atmosphere, where that calcite is deposited wherever water drips onto or flows onto. So that's what starts to form the whole process of making these formations grow. But this actually takes a very long time. So all these formations grow at a rate of about 1 cubic inch for every 100 years. So to give you a little bit of a reference, that's about the size of a small ice cube every century. So pretty crazy. Now, before we continue down what we call our switchbacks, which will be about a 72-foot descent into the next room, I want to point out one more cool thing in this area. It's going to be that kind of darker spot right up there on the ceiling. Now, that is what we call a bat roost. Because bats are mammals like us, they do have those natural oils on their hands as well. So wherever they used to hang out from, those oils were deposited, and it did stay in those areas, which is also why there are no formations growing there. Now, there are no bats that currently colonize in this cavern anymore. They all left about 5,000 years ago when that sinkhole collapsed. So that's probably one of our youngest bat roosts, aging at about 5,000 years old. And in each area that we're going to stop in today, if you look closely enough, you should be able to see a bat roost. Now, as we head down these switchbacks, halfway down the ceilings will start to get a little low, so please make sure y'all are watching your head as well as your step.
Careful, girl.
Surreal. Be careful. Please. It's wet.
Now, I call, I mean, you're coming with me, so
Unless you take me out.
that would be horrible. Look at that. Yeah.
Careful, kid.
Make sure I don't step on the roof.
I know, be careful.
If I do, the guys will be in there. You're not fucking around.
Wow.
Like when we had those, when the volcanoes come out, they've done the volcanoes. As kids, we did.
I wish I can take a picture of that. Nice. Okay, watch out. Don't touch, Uncle. One thing they told you. Quit.
Yeah.
Don't touch, Uncle. Don't you dare do that again. Wow. Stop. Okay.
It's wet.
I want you to fall in there.
It's only left.
Alright, everyone, so as I just mentioned earlier, we are currently in a room called Castle of the White Giants, named after the three giant white formations right in front of us. Now, the first one that you probably already noticed, it is on our far left-hand side. That is what we call our watchtower. So it is our tallest column inside the cavern, standing at 50 feet tall and 8 feet in diameter. And then we have that middle formation there called Mount of the Landlord, which is our largest stalagmite in the caverns. And then last but not least, on our far right-hand side, we have what we call our King's Throne, simply because they just thought the bottom half of that formation looked a little bit like where a king might sit. Now, in just a second, on our right-hand side, we're going to be passing by what we call our Grindle's Canyon. Now, Grindle's Canyon is the second deepest point in this cavern at 207 feet from that natural bridge. And they called it Grindle's Canyon because when those cave discoverers first went down there, they thought it was so dark and muddy, nothing but you monster could live there. So they named it after the famous monster Grindle from the epic poem Fable. We are also going to be walking up about 35 steps. Now those stairs will be very wet, so continue to watch your step. The walls are also going to come in on those stairs, so watch your head as well.
Oh no. Ready to climb again, Uncle?
Climb up there.
Yeah.
What's it again?
Be careful. Stop being on the edge. Careful.
Up the stairs, watch out.
On the way, Uncle. Nice. Look at that water.
Shoot the lights.
Oh, really? It's just my
Yeah, so this is all actually naturally carved out by flowing water.
Like the way.
Jill, I don't like it. Like, it's gonna be horrible for you.
You don't want a cavern dog?
No. No way.
Cavern king?
Maybe that will have, I'll maybe turn off the air. Not for yesterday. Not for
Oh, wow.
Why can't we go down there? You see better from here.
We could.
Oh, it's getting darker.
Yeah.
I have to go over there.
Bat guano or bat droppings, and it is anywhere between about 5,000 to 15,000 years old. So very old bat guano. Now wherever there's that much guano, there had to be bats at one point in time. So if you look at the ceiling above us, you will notice a couple of those darker spots. So as I mentioned before, those darker spots are younger bat roosts. So if you look at the rest of the ceiling and also at the walls in this room, you'll kind of notice those orange stains. Now we believe that those orange stains are older bat roosts. So at one point in time, this whole room was just filled with bats, making it one of the largest bat roosts inside this cavern. And when we were giving our first year tours between 1964 and 1965, everyone did have to walk all the way up here to this point, and then they had to walk all the way back down. Now, lucky for us, those smiling hello right in 1965 to go on that convenient exit tunnel behind us. Now, it is still about a quarter-mile walk back to the Discovery Village once you reach the surface, but it is definitely better to come all back down and back up to where we started. And I want to thank you guys for coming out. You're wonderful group, so I really appreciated it. If you guys have any more questions or even concerns, you can stay back with me to let me know. Otherwise, whenever you are ready, you will be making your way ahead of me and through that exit tunnel. Thank you all again for coming out. Have a great rest of y'all's afternoon.